It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Live stream available over at tampabayradio.com. Got a good show planned for you today. On the second part of today's show, we'll be talking with Dave Dockery there, a.k.a. Doc there. He is with the Tampa Bay Computer Society. He's got a big network of tech professionals, so we'll be talking a little bit with him about that and also the future of technology on our civilization. So I'm looking forward to discussing that with him, as always, like science type of a talk. But up first, we'll be talking insurance with Jim Pello, who is the owner of Brightway Insurance. You can learn more about him throughout the discussion over at brightwaystpete.com. So, Jim, welcome to the program today.
Welcome.
So, first off, tell us a little bit about your background there, if you would, please. Tell us, how did you get into the insurance and all that?
Sure. Well, insurance, it's something that most people who are in it kind of fell into. After I graduated from University of Central Florida, go Knights, moved back here because this is where family was, and got a job at an insurance company because they were hiring.
And Brightway now, is this a franchise?
Yes, yes.
And you're an owner of one of the franchise locations here.
Exactly.
Now, is it all things insurance, health, auto, car, and all that? What is it?
It's houses, cars, bikes, boats, and toys. So, bread and butter, personal line stuff. So that's what we're doing. We don't really get into health insurance at all. So if you need insurance for a house, for a car, purchasing a new home, stuff like that. That's what we work with primarily.
Okay. Now, you say when it comes to insurance, there are 4 ways to buy. Can you explain this for us, please?
Sure. So 4 primary ways to buy insurance. You can buy it through what's called like a captive agent, and this would be, you have an agency that spells specifically one product and they're captive to it. Not to mention brand names, but things that we're familiar with. If you go in, you call them and talk to them, visit their website, that's the only product that you're going to get from them. That would be like a captive agency. The other primary way is going to be trying to do it on your own online or calling 800 numbers. Those are direct. There's no brick and mortar location that you go to for those. I always say that there's a green lizard out there that makes a whole lot more money than I do. That would be an example of that. The other primary way really is through an independent agency, and that's what we do. So we broker, for lack of a better term, with 100 different, perhaps even more, gosh, I've lost count, different insurance companies where we can really go ahead and find the best premium for every individual that we're working with.
Okay, so like with regard to auto, you may place myself with a Progressive or a Geico in a broker type of relationship?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay,
right.
And so tell me a little bit more about Brightway Insurance then, because until I had met you, I'd never heard of Brightway Insurance. What's its history and a little bit more about that?
Sure. So Brightway is set up where we're working off of a model where we want to be able to provide everybody's insurance needs under one roof. In Florida specifically, that's something that, with our insurance situation, with hurricanes and sinkholes, that a lot of the captive agents that we would be used to dealing with have stopped writing various lines of business. So it was very difficult for consumers to be able to get all of their insurance needs met in one place. So that was where we came in. And Brightway, a franchise location, we're a Florida company, I think now in about 7 or 8 states, headquartered in Jacksonville. But our local offices serve the consumers in the local communities and allows us to give everybody exactly what they're looking for.
Is this a trend in insurance with this one-stop shop model? Because I know when I was younger, I noticed that people specialize. You had your life insurance person, your health insurance, your auto insurance person. Is this becoming a trend in insurance, the one-stop shop, or am I just maybe misinformed about how insurance is sold?
Absolutely. We're finding that consumers are really kind of jumping on board with it and really liking the fact that you can program our number into your phone, and it's the last number that you're ever going to need to, get anything that you're going to need about your insurance for your house, your car, your boat, motorcycle, flood, umbrella liability, anything like that. You don't have to worry about calling 6 other places. If you've got our number in your phone, you can get it all there, and that's part of the value that we provide for our clients.
Now, how did you decide to move into entrepreneurship here? And you were a sales agent with another company coming out of college, correct, right?
Yeah, I worked actually with an insurance company and did claims and a little bit of underwriting for a few years coming out of college, and then I got recruited into doing sales and business development with a company that unfortunately went bankrupt, which left me out of a job. So I found
it opened up new experiences.
Yeah,
for you.
exactly. So I found myself that I had this, the sort of internal experience or internal workings of, insurance, how the product works, the product knowledge. And then along the way, I learned the sales and business development. So how do you put the two of those together to, go on to something new? And that's how I ended up getting into owning an agency.
So what made you decide to choose a franchise or to go with the company that you're with now?
Franchise, the selection that we're able to provide our clients is really second to none, and that was part of why one of the reasons. The other is the brand recognition and the stability. So we have, I think it was 107 at last. I know it's more now. Offices throughout the state of Florida. So when someone's working with us, I mean, they're seeing us around, and they know that they're working with something that is, solid and reputable. That they're not calling somebody who's kind of,
right,
in and out of it, so to speak. Just sort of, I like to tell people I don't do insurance. I own an agency. We're there. We've been there now in the same spot for 4 years. You can drive by and see us, and so that's part of it as well. Our customers, our clients are always able to get in touch with us for their needs. When I'm not there, someone's there. All they have to do is call. Check this out.
Sounds good. No, go ahead.
So what do people come to you with to start with? I mean, you sell all these different products. I mean, what is your your main sales driver? Do people come to you for like home insurance and then you sell them the auto and all the other stuff? What is your main intake?
That's probably, we do that's one of that. I'd say that's probably the biggest channel. We've got a couple of others that we work, but a lot of times we're working with people who are purchasing homes for the first time and in need of homeowners insurance, which especially where we are can be kind of a complicated process. So we walk through it, work with all of their third parties that are involved, whether it's a real estate agent, a loan officer, a loan processor, to make sure that they as a new homeowner are going to be getting the coverage they need at something that they can afford. And that we're facilitating that transaction for them, so that a lot of stuff can happen in that process. That whatever might happen has nothing to do with us.
Right.
So it's like if you didn't get to move into that house on time, it wasn't because we didn't have everything over there that they needed. So we facilitate that.
Having spent my former life in residential real estate for almost 14, 15 years, I remember we dealt a lot with trouble with people actually being able to obtain insurance on the homes. And goodness, if they were in flood zones, forget it. A lot of the times the pricing, it actually just set the budgets off that they could no longer actually purchase the home. I've been out of the market now for a while. What is that like now for people buying a home? Is it easy to obtain?
It's getting easier, and that's a good thing. So I'd say, I think, when we sort of had our annual meeting or at the beginning of this year, our average throughout the state of Florida, our average homeowners insurance customers saw premiums decline by anywhere between 15 and 20% year over year. So we've had lots of good years in the state of Florida without any hurricanes, this year notwithstanding, but we've built up the reserves. I tell people, really, when you're getting your inspection reports done, make sure you get your 4-point and wind mitigation inspection. They're like an extra, it might be $95 to $100, but you're going to save that. That will pay for itself, at least pay for itself.
When I retired, Citizens was the only carrier, and it was scary at the time. So that's changed. There are more options.
Absolutely,
it's
absolutely. Lots of options now. We don't even write with Citizens. We maintain an appointment with them. We've got some clients who are still with them from a few years ago. But really, anybody has an option outside of Citizens, which is a good thing. Citizens is sort of when you get that stack of papers that's like 40 or 50 pages long, it's written to not give you a whole lot of stuff in there, and everything else, pretty much anything you can find other than that is going to be better for you.
Now, a couple of years ago, all the talk with home insurance was with regard to the flood component of things,
Sure.
and that got pushed down the road, though, right? I mean, we still have this issue looming out there 4 or 5 years down the road, right? Can you kind of elaborate on what's been going on behind the scenes since this big threat of all your premiums are going to go through the roof as a result of these flood insurance premium increases?
Sure. Yeah, like you said, I think the primary thing to realize is it's going to be an ongoing thing. What I like to let people know is, you're buying newer, modern construction, something that was built after flood insurance got enacted in the early 70s. Those things were built, those homes were built up to code. Where we're going to see kind of an ongoing situation with is a lot of the older homes, when that they were in South Tampa or in
Pinellas. Yeah, South Tampa, Pinellas.
Built to ground level back when there were no rules for those kinds of things. There's going to be, you're going to see substantial year-over-year increases.
And when is that? Are those rate increases coming down the road? Because they were supposed to hit in 2012 or 13 or 14?
It was 2012, and then they were astronomical. And so what ended up happening is they passed it, so there's kind of like a glide path for those where they're going up instead of all at one time, that they're going up, a certain percentage year over year until they're what they call actuarially sound.
Right,
rates.
because flood insurance is a national program, people in the mountains are subsidizing us to pay for us who are living in high risk areas, and that's the problem with the national flood insurance program.
Yes.
And a lot of people aren't even aware, but flood is separate from home, and flood is part of the government, part of FEMA or something. Correct.
Yeah. And the nice part about it is it's becoming that there are more and more options outside of FEMA for that. That we're seeing, and that's a good thing. So anything that can get people out of that FEMA program will certainly help them out.
Are there insurers or other options then? Or is there a private marketplace for flood insurance outside of the federal government, or do you have to go through the federal program?
They're starting to become. It's not universal yet, but we do, depending on the location of the property, the specifics and characteristics of the risk. There are getting to be options out there that are outside of the federal program, and those are growing. 3 or 4 years ago, in 2012, when that stuff was coming out, there were no options, and now there are, and there's more and more of them all the time.
And isn't it a good idea to keep flood insurance? Because I know even if you're not in a flood zone,
right?
A lot of times there are not flood in your regular policy, correct? So
yeah. Well, first of all, the first thing we always tell our folks is, if you're in the state of Florida, you're in a flood zone. It's just a matter of whether or not your lender is going to require it for your loan. So that's like a, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA guideline. Or do you want to trust that, they know whether or not your house is going to flood?
And those are just determined by flood maps for the communities, which are changed quite regularly.
They're changed. I mean, that can change as things develop. There's more concrete and, drainage is different and so on and so forth. The nice part about it is if you're in an area where your lender, it's not a loan requirement, it's very affordable. You can get the most amount of coverage available.
So if you need it, it's more expensive. If you don't, it's affordable.
Exactly. And like I said, the other thing, even in areas where you do need it, if you're looking at newer construction, things that we've worked with some of the stuff that's going on in South Tampa here, where they've kind of done infill projects where those things are being built up. They still need flood insurance, but we're talking about an affordable premium where people are kind of getting really good. They're not cutting themselves short by any means, and spending about maybe $600 or $700 a year for those, which isn't something that's gonna, if someone likes that house, that's not gonna knock them out of the market for that.
Okay. Currently talking to Jim Pello, agency owner with Brightway Insurance. So if you could use his insurance services, give him a call at 727-209-5400. Again, 727-209-5400, or visit brightwaystpete.com. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal. And most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
Who doesn't have a smartphone these days? And of course, there's an app for everything. Well, almost everything. That's why the folks at Popcorn Apps started developing mobile applications. They saw people like you with genius ideas, unable to make those thoughts a reality. They develop applications for tens of thousands of dollars less than you'll find anywhere else, and will turn your idea into a reality in a matter of just a few months. Think you're not ready? Think again. They are your one-stop shop for mobile application development. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
At Vein 911, we will help you feel great again. Do you have restless legs, night leg cramps, or ankle swelling? Restless legs, cramping, swelling, and tired heavy legs are often symptoms of hidden vein disease. You do not have to have visible bulging veins to have the symptoms of vein disease. The vein care specialists at Vein 911 are uniquely qualified to evaluate and treat your veins. Are you unhappy with your previous vein treatment? Vein 911 succeeds where others fail. Call Vein 911 today at 855-VEIN-911. That's 855-834-6911 to book your free consultation. Vein 911. We will help you feel great again.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn Apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Good morning. Hearing about a crash in Countryside now on State Road 580 just west of McMullen Booth Road. This one near Landmark Drive. Also some heavy traffic on eastbound Hillsborough Avenue approaching the Veterans Expressway, and a minor crash in Tampa on westbound Adamo Drive at 21st Street. Heavy traffic on southbound 275 between Fletcher Avenue and Sly, and westbound I-4 approaching downtown. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Someone you know is suffering from Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. They're dealing with excruciating pain and days when they won't be able to get out of bed. Help someone you know and support the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America at ccfa.org.
Today, mostly sunny and warmer with a high 83. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 66. Tomorrow, the warm-up continues with a high 86.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Talking insurance talk with Jim Pello, owner of Brightway Insurance. You can learn more about this, brightwaystpete.com.
So, Jim, great question. In regards to Uber drivers or Lyft drivers, are there any different policies that they would need to have on their car while they're working for these companies?
Absolutely, and actually, we just came out with one. We just had one probably within the past 2 weeks, and it's absolutely something that they should consider. I know Uber's got a policy and Lyft has a policy, and they change all the time. The last one that I read was for one of my clients who was considering it. It covered Uber really well. It covered the passengers really well. there were some holes in there that that didn't cover the driver very well. And it's not like it's not like they say anything incorrect in those ads that they put out or what they're putting in there. They're just not explaining to the driver everything that could possibly go wrong. So yeah, it's important if you're going to want to do that to make sure that your auto policy allows for that, because usually what happens is your car insurance does not, whatever you sign off on, however you sign off on it, whether it's online, it's usually saying you don't drive people around and make money doing that.
And so they need a separate policy outside of their traditional auto policy?
No, they can get one. We've got one auto policy that will allow them to do it. So we have to rate the policy for them to be a rideshare driver, and then it allows them to use that car for their personal use, and then also covers them, so that they are covered and legit while being an Uber or Lyft driver.
I can only imagine what that premium costs for 6 months. I mean, I guess it would depend on the driver, obviously, in the car.
Everybody's situation's different.
Right, but I don't know. Being very helpful with small business owners and startups and being very involved to assist people in that, I know a lot of them are doing other jobs, trying to get their businesses going and off the ground. And although that might seem like it's a great fixing the problem as far as compensating for income, at the end of the day, when you figure in policies to where you're actually covered, it may not be.
True. They'd have to obviously talk with an accountant about it, but I would imagine they get a 1099 at the end of the year. That's probably could be an expense that is offset by
So most riders or drivers are probably getting behind the wheel, just their basic auto policy, probably not even thinking about the need for insurance.
Exactly. Or thinking that the Uber policy is going to cover them completely when it might not and probably doesn't. Yeah.
So how much more, generally speaking, for a safe driver does that rider add to the traditional policy? Is there a good rule of thumb or a number of that?
It's tough to say because there's so many different factors. Where the person lives, their driving history. I mean, credit is a part of auto insurance as well. What they've had in the past. I would say you're probably looking at 25 to 50% more if you're going to want to really be covered correctly to drive for Uber. But if you're making the money with it's if you go from $150 to $300 a month, and you're doing everything right, it might be worthwhile if you're making that.
But the riders themselves are covered under Uber's policy?
The riders themselves are covered under Uber's policy, and a lot of times they're going to be covered under their own if they've got the right coverage for it. So.
And since we're on the talking point of auto insurance here, we got about a minute and a half left. What are some other things to consider when you're buying auto insurance in Florida? And one thing I've never fully understood is that stacked versus unstacked thing. If maybe you can touch on that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, stacked versus unstacked. First, that's referring to uninsured motorists. And I always tell people when they wonder what it is, I tell them that's your Ask Gary money.
That's your what money?
That is your Ask Gary money.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
If you ask Gary, that's the money that he's going to try to get you. Everything else, when you look at your auto policies, going to pay medical bills. It's going to pay for the stuff that you broke. It's going to pay to fix your car. Your uninsured motorist can be cash for you. And when you have stacked coverage on there, it multiplies that by the number of vehicles that you own, whether or not they're on your policy or not. It's good for motorcycle riders as well. And those, so if you own multiple vehicles, or if you're a motorcycle rider, it might be something worthwhile.
Okay, so if you just own the one vehicle, you should do the unstacked. Then am I understanding that correctly?
Unless you've got perhaps a vehicle in another state, or let's say you've got a family situation where older parent has kid on the so that the car just kind of goes to them. Then you technically own that vehicle and you could get additional coverage for that. So everyone's situation is different. But if you've got one car and you don't really engage in the motorcycle activities, a non-stacked might be the way to go.
And it's very important to check for that uninsured motorist coverage. A lot of uninsured drivers out there,
yes,
and
absolutely.
I'm sure you probably see people get bit by that a lot throughout the year with getting in an accident with somebody who doesn't have insurance. So please make sure that you check your policy for uninsured motorist coverage. It is a big problem in the state of Florida. So Jim, thank you so much for being in studio. Good discussion on insurance this morning.
Thank you, Jim.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Again, owner of Brightway Insurance. You can reach out to him 727-209-5400 or visit brightwaystpete.com. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ham from Billmeyer Ham Consulting. Did you know that one of the biggest challenges that leaders face is getting their employees to be engaged, motivated, and producing amazing business results? At Billmeyer Ham Consulting, we'll help you transform your workforce culture from one that might be underperforming, maybe mediocre, to achieving amazing business results. You see, we realize that your workforce culture is equally as important as your business plan and your business strategy. The two must be aligned in order for you to reach your desired business and financial goals.
Hey, Carol.
Hey, Jim.
I just got this plan that could really help with our process here.
Okay. Why don't you just have a seat and let's go over it?
Let us help you transform your workforce culture by leveraging your most important assets, your people. I want to know what's going on in your organization. Let us help you transform your workforce culture. Let's have a conversation.
I feel guilty that I can't always be there when Mom feels stuck at home. She was always there for us. But now she can't get out, and I'm not always available to take her places. Someone else needs to help her get around. Then I learned about Home Instead. Now Mom can do what she enjoys because her personal caregiver is there, and I can just be a daughter again.
Are you struggling to care for your loved one? We can help. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
5.
This report is brought to you by Racetrack. Racetrack's cooking up new breakfast sandwiches. Whatever you want in a fluffy croissant or buttermilk biscuit, they're making it fresh every morning. So how do you like your eggs? With ham and cheese? With crispy chicken or savory sausage? Head to Racetrack for whatever gets you going.
1250 winds, weather center forecast. Partly sunny skies today, just a little warmer, nearing those mid-80s. Tonight's low in the mid-60s. Mid-80s all around, return tomorrow. Could see a shower or two. And we'll see that forecast minus the rain for the rest of the week. Impact Radio 1250 winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Time to bring in my next guest for the program. We have Dave Dockery, a.k.a. Doc. He is the president of the Tampa Bay Computer Society. Learn more about this at tampa-bay.org. So, Doc, welcome to the program today.
Thank you. Good to see you, Jamie.
So first off, for people that are not familiar with the Tampa Bay Computer Society, tell us a little bit about that and your role in the organization.
Well, we do over 50 technical trainings each month, so that's really pretty cool.
Wow.
And we started, of course, with these things that you people don't know anything about. That's called they're computers, but they're pretty much gone today. We do iPads, and we still do computers. Our claim to fame, though, what really built us up is that we do free computer repair for our members. So you got a Windows machine and it's going bad. It costs $50 to be a one-year member, and that's a free computer repair with it. So,
whether it's hardware or software, virus, malware, all
absolutely,
that?
we do it all.
Wow.
Okay. Laptops were not quite as much on because you need special tools for laptops, and of course laptops are taking over too. But for desktop computers, yeah, we've been the place to go for years.
Are laptops taking over? I thought the tablets are kind of moving more into the place of the laptop now.
In the computer section, laptops are taking over because they're affordable now. Right. But for years, your laptop was $2,200, and you didn't.
I love my laptop. It's perfect for myself. I'm still a desktop user. I'm a big proponent of desktop in the workplace.
I'm still a desktop user, especially because I have two monitors, and I love to be able to have something on YouTube on the right one while I'm working on the left one.
Yeah.
You can't get around that with an iPad. You know. So I'm a big iPad and smartphone user, though, and the magic word is disruption. That's what it's done to our industry. Free computer repair built our club. We were 1,300 members just 4 or 5 years ago. In 1 year, we lost 700 members. We lost half of our membership in 1 year. And my board thought, they panicked. They said, where are they going? And I said, you got to understand, they're buying iPads. They're buying smartphones. They don't need a computer any longer. They're taking their computer. They're not even getting it fixed. They're putting it in the closet. just in case they need the photos off of it someday that they have, and that's it.
They weren't repairing the computer anymore. Then they were replacing them.
Exactly.
Do you still have that problem today with members, or I guess if you make it free, then that solved that problem?
We're still repairing. We still repair 2 days a week. We still get new people, but it's no longer the amount of people that we had when it used, when it was what it was. So we're just adjusting to that.
Now, how long has the Tampa Bay Computer Society been around? When was it founded?
We're over 33 years old.
33? Wow.
Absolutely. We're long-term.
So that takes you back to the Apple II days then, almost, right?
Absolutely. I did a TV show years ago on DOS, that thing called DOS.
Right.
Many of your listeners won't know what that means.
Yeah, no, that's true. The old disk operating system right there. I can remember I was a child, a very young child in the early 80s, and I had the Commodore 64, and I thought that thing was incredible. And looking back, the only things we could do on it, do you remember a program called Logo by chance?
Yes.
It would make geometric shapes.
I do, as a matter of fact.
I used it for that, and then I got a monthly computer magazine that would come in the mail, and it always had these programs you could type into DOS, and we're supposed to like put a dragon on the screen or something. It would never work for me though.
Those were, those were fun days because number one, they couldn't just print it out. We didn't have printers yet, So what happened was people transcribed them, put them in the magazine. Of course, they made mistakes. So that's how I learned to troubleshoot a code because I had to fix those programs.
Really, I could never figure that out. I would sit there for like 2 hours, type it in every last little character that I had to because it would like put a picture of a dragon up on the screen or something.
Right.
And I could never get those things to work.
Right.
It was so frustrating.
Well, when we were before I was president, I can't take the credit for this, but we were courted by Microsoft, Adobe, WordPerfect, and so forth. Bill Gates. We hosted Bill Gates coming to Pinellas many years ago, and he couldn't come to our club. We didn't have enough room for him. So his front people came in, and they rented out Ruth Eckerd Hall for the night, and so we had several thousand people there for that event.
What year is that? Was that pre-Windows or post-Windows launch?
It was. Windows was just new, and as a matter of fact, he was demonstrating Windows that night for people that...
Which Windows, the 3.0 or the very earliest version?
It was before either of those.
Even before that?
It was still in development at that point. Wow. And it blue screened on him in front of all of those people. So, but I'll tell you what, he was a class act because he really does know his stuff. I know that because I know people that work with him, and they said he's just fantastic.
Wow. So I wonder, cool. We've seen such a development in technology in just these 30 years. Are we going to continue to see this level of development through the next 30 years?
No, it's going to be much more, much faster, much bigger. That will be the change.
Are we still going to be following that rule that the processing power is going to double? What is it, like every 10 years? And I forget the name of that law.
I think so. People say it's going to fall away, but it's going to change. Okay, I think we're going to go to organic computers at some point, but that's a wild guess. I really don't know. And I will tell you that. Another thing I remember about the industry is we didn't have viruses at one time. Okay, and I should tell you that's where we started going out into the neighborhood at some point. We would go to libraries and we would hold a day called Random Act of Kindness, where we would invite people to bring their computers in and we would fix them for free. And I took like 12 people and we set up computers and we fixed these computers. My best story from that time is I'm running a virus scan on this lady's computer. And I turned to her and I said, it's really none of my business, but somebody's been surfing for porn on this computer. And she says, well, that couldn't be. And I thought, that's an interesting, because normally what I get is my husband, Fred, I'm going to slap him crazy when I get home, Right. And she goes, well, that couldn't be. And I said, well, why? How do you know that couldn't be? And she says, well, there's nobody at home but me and the boys. And I said, how old might the boys be? And she said, well, one's 11 and one's 13. And I said, well, ma'am, you've never been a 13-year-old boy, but trust me, they're the ones downloading porn. She had the most viruses we've ever seen. 17,000 viruses on that single machine.
Wow.
That set a record setter. So,
Wow,
you know.
wow. So she was so disconnected from reality right there. She didn't believe that they would actually go to a pornography site.
Exactly. I was loading her computer into her car later, and she turned to me. She says, well, I'm going to go home and have a chat with the boys. And I thought, boy, I would love to hear that conversation take place, you know.
Now, one thing I'm most interested in is the rise of artificial intelligence. I was watching I think it was 60 Minutes just a couple weeks ago, and I didn't realize it, but just 5 years ago, they had a human computer that played on Jeopardy and who actually won, and it was basically a supercomputer, and it was asked the questions, by Alex Trebek, and it won. It was processing all this information, and it was completely disconnected from any user, and it was able to answer questions.
That was IBM's Watson.
Yes, Watson, yes.
And Watson, Watson's day job is to diagnose medical problems.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it does an excellent job of that. And about 2 months ago, it got a new job, as if it wasn't busy enough. But it's a computer; it can do a lot of things. So it became a lawyer now. So now it's been hired by legal firms, and it does the low level. The day-to-day lawyering, and if they have tricky stuff, that goes upstream. But we're headed to artificial intelligence. We noticed that Siri is capable of providing some reasonable degree of intuitiveness as it runs.
Is it still considered artificial intelligence, though? Because the computer is essentially just being loaded with every little bit of information. So it's still processing information. It's just got every book and textbook in existence programmed into it. So it's able to reason from the question and look for answers. So is that still considered artificial, or does it have to become more self-aware?
You could say theoretically it's not yet artificially intelligent. It's certainly the stepping stones are there. You can see it in a variety of software where it's learning to, it's learned a lot. But no, we're not there yet. And I was one of the kind of people that thought artificial intelligence, so what, it'll be great. And then when I heard people talk about maybe it's not the best for us, because if it's artificially intelligent enough, it may look at it and say, you humans just kind of clog up the world, Well,
that's the idea of self-awareness. If they become self-aware, then we're in trouble.
The Terminator picture, But as it turns out, that's a real problem. People like Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking have both said, you got to be careful with this artificial intelligence. And what happens the day our software becomes artificially intelligent?
Yeah, and they were doing an interview with another company that was producing human computers, and up in the head was the computer, and it was learning as the person was talking to it. It was asking them basic, simple questions, and some of the answers didn't fully make sense, but the computer did pretty well with the conversation.
We're just doing, obviously people know that we're doing so many cool things these days with them.
Technology is almost scary as things have advanced. About 6 months ago, maybe not even that long, it was a Saturday afternoon, and so I took a shower, and afterwards I'm going to get dressed. So I have a towel on. At this point, I live on a balcony. I live in a high-rise, okay? So I'm high up. There's nobody up there. So I have a towel on. I go outside, and I am just on the balcony having a cup of coffee and relaxing. With a towel, I'm fine. All of a sudden, I hear a noise, and I look up, and there is a drone staring at me.
Yes.
Now you're up on the 16th floor. I have a drone just staring at me. I'm thinking, okay, what do you do in this situation? Luckily I'm clothed, but in a towel. It's almost scary to think at some point, privacy is so minimal to begin with, and then with technology and as everything advances, and now there's drones flying around and artificial intelligence and Watsons, it's just kind of scary.
I got my first drone a couple of months ago, and a friend of mine, she was questioning me about it. She says, why are people so upset about drones? And I said, people that want to sunbathe in their backyard, they want the privacy, And I said, and soon, they don't have it. And she goes, that wouldn't be a problem, And a week later, she says, I had a neighborhood boy knock on my door, and he said, lady, my drone fell on your cage in your pool, and he was trying to get over to see her, and it fell. So.
that you never know who's watching.
You don't. You cannot. Hey, and the NSA might be using your smartphone camera anyhow. So
right.
against your
interesting time here.
That would be interesting to talk about when we come back.
Yep. Currently talking to Dave Dockery, aka Doc. He's the president of the Tampa Bay Computer Society, and it's again only $50 membership per year, and they repair your computer for free. So, and they have over 50 technical seminars each month. So you definitely want to check this out for all the tech lovers out there. Again, tampa-bay.org. Again, tampa-bay.org. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews, and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews, and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
Did you know the biggest challenge business leaders face today is creating an engaged and productive workforce culture? Bill Meyer Ham Consulting wants to help you solve this challenge. They will help you transform your workforce culture to produce amazing business results. Call Bill Meyer Ham Consulting at 941-201-4650 today or visit BillMeyerHam.com. That's BillMeyerHam.com. Have a conversation.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal. And most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
What's up, business rock stars? Are you ready to bring out the CEO in you? Join Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, every other Friday on That Business Show. She'll be talking with other chief entrepreneurial officers about how they grew their businesses. Remember, you could join the conversation at Focus on You Strategies Focus Fridays Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. That's facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. Be the CEO of you.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Slow traffic on northbound 275 in St. Petersburg. Crash near 22nd Avenue South off to the right-hand side. Had one near 38th Avenue North. That one's cleared up, but traffic remains slow from downtown to that accident scene. Northbound 275 looking a whole lot better now off to Howard Franklin Bridge into the West Shore area. Still seeing some delays, though, on the southbound side of the Veterans Expressway from before the Courtney Campbell Causeway to 275. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Udork, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line, 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Dex Imaging. When it comes to digital copiers and printers, nobody performs like Dex. Partner with an office imaging company that puts you first. Visit them at deximaging.com. That's deximaging.com.
Today, mostly sunny and warmer with a high 83. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 66. Tomorrow, the warm-up continues with a high 86.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Talking tech talk with Dave Dockery, a.k.a. Doc. He's the president of the Tampa Bay Computer Society, and learn more at tampa-bay.org. And Doc, with the change in the law with regard to crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, and technology, we're seeing a lot of different things come to the marketplace now because people now have this new resource to develop this technology. Tell us a little bit about how this is playing a role in technology.
Certainly. I talk a lot about the future, and one of my favorite stories from that is how we're going to begin, or how we're already using crowdsourcing. And let me give you an example from England. They have a paper called The Guardian. The Guardian did a story. They found that a member of Parliament had used £26,000 that belonged to the state, and he put a duck pond on his estate with that money. So they printed that story, and of course, things came tumbling down. So they went back to Parliament, and they said, look, it's our money you spend. Why don't you let us determine where you're spending it, how well you're spending it, and so forth. And Parliament said, you know what? We have a 500,000 records. It's like if you went to McDonald's and you got a check, they just put them in shoe boxes and gave them to the Guardian. And they said they'll never be able to do anything with them because there's too many of them. They don't have the resources. Somebody savvy, a young Matt Ashwood probably, at the Guardian says, oh, I know what to do with that stuff. So they scanned every piece of paper and they put it on a web page and they gave it a number, and then they said, look, we invite the public to come out to the web, find a paper, and tell who it was, what day it was, where they spent the money, and put it in the database. And that's what happened. So of 500,000 records, 174,000 of those records were done within 3 days. And in the end, once it was all completed, 4 members of Parliament got charged. 27 or 28 of them left their post and said they would not run again. And they're asking for £1.2 million back from the other people. So it's letting the public weigh in ways that we could never do before we had this technology. And I love that. That's why I want our government to do the same kind of thing. It's our money they spend. I feel like we have a right to know what they spend it on.
What is going to happen with the future of our operating systems? I regularly talk to Nick Paris on Tech Thursdays on this program, and we've talked about, he was saying that this could possibly be the last version of Windows because everything's going to maybe a virtual setting, desktop virtualization. Are we going to get to a point where everything is in the cloud, including our hard drives, when we log into our computers? Are we headed in that direction?
I don't know about everywhere, but we're certainly, the cloud is just there. I was one of the people initially when that came out, I thought, I'm not putting my stuff up on the cloud. And I see that attitude. Right. But at some point you go, I don't care. They already know. It's like everybody has a digital footprint in this world. If you don't manage that digital footprint by taking charge of saying, here's where I live and here's what I do and so forth, if you don't, Google and others will fill that information in for you, right, wrong, or indifferent. So my belief is you're better off taking charge of those things than letting the government figure out what it is, and they'll get it wrong.
You might as well help them get it right.
Yeah, I was at a conference and somebody came back and they said, well, we went to Steak and Shake for lunch, and somebody says, well, now the government knows you were at Steak and Shake. And I go, well, yeah. And I said, but the NSA knows how much you tipped the waitress while you were there, because those guys know it all,
Whatever happened, or I think it's still out there, Rick was asking the status of Linux. Is that still a major player in computer circles?
Linux is a major player that most people never hear about because it's used within industry, but it's no longer a home operating system. Our people wanted to have Linux at some point because it's free, but it was too much for them to learn. They didn't have the resources to do that. However, from a standpoint of a business, there's a whole lot of people out there using Linux servers and
what's the advantage of Linux to a business owner?
Cost for them. Cost.
So it's free open source software, correct?
Exactly. That's the big thing. But you have to know what you're doing more. It's just that Windows, there's a lot of help for you out there. If you're having a problem with your Windows operating system, the 12-year-old kid next door will come over and straighten it out
right.
for you.
That's
and
right.
But Linux, no. Our people no longer ask for Linux. It's not an issue.
We've got a couple of minutes left. I want to go back over to your Computer Society, how people can get involved. Again, the Tampa Bay Computer Society, you do 50 technical seminars each month. Are they, Mac or PC? Are they a variety of everything and anything out there?
We are a PC house. We don't do Macs. And we did invite them to come in, and they had a user group inside of our group a few years ago, but it's sliding away. I don't know if it'll come back. I should mention this Saturday we're doing a random act of kindness at our club, and so people can find us. They can register their computer. They can get a free. They don't have to be a member. We'll give them a free repair, and we're going to have 4 seminars that day. Plus, we're going to feed you all day long, coffee and donuts in the morning and stuff throughout the day. So,
and the $50 yearly membership includes, again, free computer repairs. How is it that you're able to offer the free repairs? Are all the technicians on volunteer?
All the technicians, out of the goodness of their heart, come in and fix the computers. That's awesome that, people, if you'd have told me 30 years ago that people would repair computers for free, I would have said, oh, come on.
Right.
But very much, I've always had technicians willing to come in and do that and give up their days to do that.
And your meetings, where are they held at? Are they all around the Tampa Bay region? Or are they centralized in a certain area?
We have offices in just north of Gulf to Bay. People know where the tax office is. We're just a little shade north of the tax office.
I was just going to say thank you, and I'm sure the others that are coming in to help assist everyone fixing the computers, they're taking your lead.
There you go.
And I just wanted to say thank you.
All right.
Thank
Dave
you.
Dockery, a.k.a. Doc, president of the Tampa Bay Computer Society. Thank you so much for being in studio today.
Thanks much. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
A good discussion. And so for all you people out there that enjoy technology, take advantage of their membership. It's only $50 a year, and you get your computer repaired for free. You can learn more over at tampa-bay.org. Again, tampa-bay.org. And also one last reminder for the program about the Business Symposium this Friday. Tickets are $39 and $59 for non-members, and the price does include lunch. So pick up a ticket over at tampabayradio.com. You've been listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
The proceeding was a commercial program.